Imagine walking through a valley where life once existed, a place that once echoed with voices, movement, and strength. But now it is silent. The wind moves slowly through a barren landscape. Dust rises from the dry earth, and scattered across the ground lie bones, thousands of them, not buried, not honored, not remembered, just bones, bleached by the sun, dry from years beneath the burning sky. This is not a battlefield fresh from war. This is something older, something forgotten, the remains of a people who once lived and now exist only as fragments of what used to be. And in the middle of this valley stands a man, a prophet, a man who has seen the glory of God and the judgment of nations. His name is Ezekiel, but today what he is about to see will become one of the most powerful visions ever recorded in human history, because in this valley of death, God is about to speak about life. The story begins with a movement of the Spirit. Ezekiel writes that the hand of the Lord came upon him, and when the hand of God rests upon a prophet, visions follow. The Spirit lifts Ezekiel, not physically carried like a man walking, but carried in a vision, carried beyond the ordinary boundaries of time and space, and suddenly he finds himself standing in the middle of a valley, not on the edge, not observing from a distance, but standing among the bones themselves. And everywhere he looks, he sees them, bones scattered across the ground, skeletons broken apart, skulls lying beside rib cages, leg bones separated from the rest of the body. It is not just death, it is devastation, the kind of devastation that leaves nothing intact. Ezekiel slowly walks through the valley, step by step, and as he moves, the Spirit leads him past the bones, over them, around them, so he can truly see the scale of what lies before him. And the prophet notices two things. First, there are very many bones, more than he can count. The valley is filled with them. Second, they are very dry, not recently dead. These bones have been here a long time, long enough for the flesh to disappear, long enough for the sun to bleach them white, long enough for hope to fade completely. And in that moment, God asks a question. The voice of the Lord speaks into the silence of the valley, a question directed to Ezekiel. Son of man, can these bones live? The question seems almost impossible. Ezekiel is standing in a valley of bones that have been dead for years. There is no flesh, no blood, no life, no breath, just scattered remains. Yet God asks, can these bones live? The prophet does not answer quickly. He knows better than to speak carelessly before the Lord, because from a human perspective, the answer is obvious. No, bones cannot live. But Ezekiel also knows something else. God is the creator of life, the one who formed Adam from dust, the one who breathed life into humanity. So Ezekiel answers with humility, O sovereign Lord, you alone know. It is the perfect answer, because Ezekiel admits what he cannot see, but leaves room for what God can do. Then something extraordinary happens. God tells Ezekiel to do something that sounds completely unreasonable. He says, prophesy to these bones, speak to them, declare the word of the Lord over them. Imagine standing in a valley of skeletons and speaking to them as if they can hear. Yet Ezekiel obeys, because prophets do not speak what makes sense. They speak what God says. So Ezekiel lifts his voice in the valley, and he begins to speak. O dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will cause breath to enter you, and you shall live. I will attach tendons to you. I will cause flesh to grow upon you. I will cover you with skin, and I will put breath in you, and you shall live. Then you will know that I am the Lord. And as the final words echo across the valley, something begins to happen. At first, there is silence. Then, suddenly, a sound, a faint rattling, like stones shifting across the ground. Then, louder, the sound spreads across the valley. Bones begin to move. A skull rolls across the dirt. A spine shifts into place. Leg bones slide together. Rib cages assemble. Across the valley, skeletons begin forming, bone connecting to bone, joint aligning with joint. The valley that once held only scattered remains now fills with complete skeletons. But the miracle is not finished, because the bones are only the beginning. As Ezekiel watches in amazement, something begins forming around the bones. Tendons appear, strong cords connecting bone to bone. Then muscles begin to form, layer after layer of flesh growing across the skeletons, then skin, covering everything. The valley that once held dry bones now holds bodies, human bodies lying across the ground. Yet something is still missing, because although the bodies have form, they have no breath, no movement, no life. They are complete, but still silent. And God speaks again. The Lord tells Ezekiel to prophesy again, but this time not to the bones, not to the bodies, but to the breath. Prophesy to the breath. Say to the breath, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe into these slain, that they may live. So Ezekiel speaks once more, and the breath comes. The wind of life moves across the valley, entering the bodies, filling their lungs, strength entering their limbs, eyes opening, hands moving, and suddenly the valley of death becomes a valley of life. Men rise to their feet, thousands of them, standing together, alive, an exceedingly great army. Then the Lord explains the vision. These bones represent the house of Israel. The people had lost hope. They believed their nation was finished. They said, our bones are dried up. Our hope is gone. We are cut off. But God declares something powerful. I will open your graves. I will bring you back to the land of Israel. I will put my spirit within you, and you will live. This vision was a promise that even when a nation feels completely destroyed, God can restore it. But the message goes far beyond ancient Israel, because every generation experiences valleys of dry bones, moments when hope feels lost, when dreams die, when faith feels distant. Yet this prophecy reminds us of something extraordinary. God specializes in resurrection. What appears dead is not beyond His power. He can restore hearts, restore lives, restore nations, restore faith, because the breath of God still moves. Maybe you feel like those bones today, scattered, dry, without hope. But the same God who spoke life into that valley still speaks today, and when His voice is heard, even bones can live again. If this message spoke to your heart, write in the comments, speak life, Lord, because sometimes all it takes is one word from God to turn a valley of bones into an army of life.